Hello everyone, my name is Bill Denton, and today I'd like to talk about how you can improve the sound in an Atlas N-Scale GP40 locomotive. Now when these came out with factory installed ESU sound and speakers, I was quite excited, but after I heard them I was a little bit disappointed in the sound volume, especially when I compared them to my own installs. Now, I think this might be due to the fact that Atlas chose to put the speaker in the fuel tank of the locomotive, and in my installs, I prefer to put the speaker in the body shell itself. Now, Atlas may have finally come to the same conclusion since their recent release of their GP7s and 9s and SD7s and 9s now come with the speaker installed in the body shell, and quite frankly, they sound much better. So I've gone ahead and modified my Atlas GP40 locomotive, and I'd like to show you a comparison between my install and the factory equipped out-of-the-box Atlas unit. So without further ado, let's get to it.
So I modified one of my GP40s accordingly, and I'm going to demonstrate the difference in the sound volume between the out-of-the-box unit, which is number 2050 up front here. So we'll first hear that. And now number 2047 in the back with the modified speaker in the body shell. I think you can tell there's quite a bit of difference there. And once again, 2050 and 2047. What do you think?
Okay, so I'm not going to do a step-by-step guide on this installation, but I would like to discuss the modifications that I made to the frame. I also want to show you the speaker that I used. It's an ESU 50342 speaker and measures 9 by 16 millimeters. You want to be sure to use the smallest enclosure that comes with this, and that's this one here. This will fit nicely between the decoder board and the chassis of the locomotive. Now, the unmodified locomotive is back here, and it has the speaker in the fuel tank. Up front here is the modified unit. I had to mill out part of the frame. I went down about 2 N-scale feet, and the length is about 10 N-scale feet. And as you can see, the speaker with the smallest enclosure fits nicely under the decoder board. Okay, so we're going to take a closer look at this install. Once again, I milled off part of the frame. I used a milling machine, but you could chuck the frame in a vise and use a Dremel tool along with a file to clean it up. On one of my installs, I just used a hacksaw, so that's another option. Also, there's a black piece of insulating plastic that protects the decoder from shorting to the frame. I cut this off, the part that extends over the speaker, to allow a better fit. The wires from the speaker are soldered to the little nubs that protrude up through the plastic insulating board, and the nubs touch the bottom of the decoder. I suppose you could solder the wires in place on the decoder. It would just make it harder to remove the decoder since the speaker would come with it. So that's why I chose to solder them to the little nubs. I also placed a piece of Kapton tape over the back end of the decoder, since that sits out over the speaker and I didn't want anything to short out. The other nice advantage of this installation is that when you move the speaker to the rear of the frame, it frees up the whole cavity in the fuel tank where the old speaker was to be used for extra weight. So I was able to fill this area with some moldable lead that I had on hand. Since lead is a non-conductive metal, I didn't have to worry about shorting anything out. Just be aware to insulate this area if you are going to use a conductive metal. Another advantage to note is that even though part of the frame was removed, by filling the fuel tank with some weight, I was actually able to gain 6 grams over the stock locomotive. So not only does it sound better, but it should also pull better as well. That's a wrap for this video. I hope it was a help to you and that you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.